Hi, this is Jason, and this is my daily vlog called Living with CMT. I hope you enjoy.
Well folks, it's the 29th of October and this is the first Christmas display we've actually seen. It's already set out with the Christmas tree and everything, and it's next. This is next window on the 29th of October. It actually says Merry Christmas, believe it or not. It's hard to see with that blurred lighting, but it does say Merry Christmas. So yeah, can't believe that, can you? 29th of October. Sheesh. Oh well, there'll be more to come. Bye for now. Hey up folks, it's I'll tell you what time it is in a minute. Let me just look on my brilliant watch. 1:10 We've just had a good walk around town centre. Not much happening, to be honest. Just going to have a portion of chips and a cup of tea because that's all I fancy. Everywhere's full of Halloween stuff, which you don't mind because obviously Halloween's in a couple of days. But the one thing, like I said, is you've just seen that video before. I can't believe it, I've seen my first Christmas window display in October, which is quite disturbing really when you think about it. We haven't even got Halloween out of the way yet. I didn't do a lot last night. I ended up doing a bit more of my story, which obviously I'll be reading out later. I know I made a few mistakes when I was reading it out. I'm not very good at doing things like that because I've got no practice at it. But I'll learn, I'll get there. I enjoy doing it, I must admit I enjoy doing it. There could be something I do in the future, like audio versions of my book, in which case obviously you won't see my ugly muck, but you will hear the story, so I might think about that at some point. Like I said, I watched football last night, and then I went upstairs. I did quite a bit on my tablet, just a bit of gaming, just to chill out, listen to a bit of music, dropped off sleep. Was a bit lazy this morning, usually get up at 8:30, didn't get up till 9:30. I was really tired. I didn't have a really good night's sleep, so yeah, that didn't help. I woke up with absolutely, in the middle of the night this was, I must have been sleeping funny because the pain in the base of my spine actually woke me up, and it's never done that before. It was really bad. I was actually screamed out in pain, it was that bad. I thought I'd woke Deb up because she got up and went to the bathroom just after that, but apparently she'd been awake for a few minutes anyway before I even yelled out, so that was good news. Don't think I'm doing much else today. Like I say, I'm doing a bit more of a video later, and it depends what post and that comes, but I think that might be it for now, and I'm going to enjoy my lovely cup of tea, and I will catch you all later. Bye for now. Show you. Thought I'd just show you. You can tell it's half term. How busy it is. Couple of tables empty there, but look at that down there. Look at the queue. It was all the way to the end there. Absolutely tons of people. Mind you, it's been like that around town, I must admit.
Good evening, folks. It's been quite a busy day today. As you can see from my first couple of videos, we actually got to see the first Christmas window display, which is absolutely stunning. Seems we haven't even had Halloween yet. And it wasn't just, you know, a little thing. It was a big Christmas window display with a Christmas tree, and it's like, really? Nah, not for me. I've just been onto the news and seen a couple of stories which have hit me today. The first one being that, remember me telling you that the fracking had to be stopped because there was a 0.8 tremor? It's had to be stopped again because this time there's been a tremor of over 1. It's 1.1, I think it's measured. And I'm sorry, but how people can still say that this is nothing to do with the fracking is beyond me. We are getting so many tremors now that it's getting to the point where if we carry on, we're going to end up having a full-scale earthquake. And I tell you something, this is not an area that will take that. I mean, we're in Lancashire, you know. There's going to be topplings and God knows what. There's going to be roofs coming off, and I don't know. I just think they need to take a step back and say, look, this is not a coincidence. These tremors are happening because we are messing with the Earth's crust. We don't know what we're doing. We're just sending crap down there and expecting, you know, get the gas out and all that sort of thing, and everything will be fine. But you're messing with the Earth's crust. You're messing with the Earth, you know. Don't do it. Leave it alone. I've just read another story which was rather disturbing, and two facts actually. One, about a young man who was 18 and he was going home on a bus in Bristol. And because he was different, as this guy called him, because he was homosexual, this guy decided to punch the hell out of him. And I mean punching. He was left with black eyes, he was left with bruised face and everything. And it was because he was gay, basically. It's because he was homosexual. He didn't like him. and he followed him up to the top of the bus, and he started punching him in the face. Then when he tried to get off the bus, he started punching him in the face, the neck and the hands. The guy that's been arrested has been given 18 weeks in prison. 18 weeks. That's it. So you could basically, say you wanted to go to prison for a bit. Say, I don't know, just say you weren't bothered. You could go out, punch the hell out of a homosexual man or gay woman. I don't know. I don't know how it works. But say you punch the hell out of somebody, knowing that you would only get, 18, 20 odd weeks. And the worrying thing is, he was already, from what I've just read, I think he was on bail for another previous assault he'd done. And he had 8 weeks added on to it because of that. What? 8 weeks? That goes like that. 8 weeks is nothing, mate. It's absolutely ridiculous, that is. I saw today the tribute paid to the Leicester City owner, and he's actually the first owner I've come across where nobody's got a bad word to say about him. Absolutely nobody's got a bad word to say about him. And I never have heard a bad word said about him, actually. Not one word. You know, some people will slag off the Glazers, who own, I think it's Man United. Some people will even slag off the Fenway Sports Group, who own Liverpool. And, you know, you will get this. You will get this. I mean, Newcastle, oh blimey. Ashley, he's always getting slagged off left, right and centre, he is, because he doesn't do enough for the club. Oyston for Blackpool, he's another one. But this guy, this Leicester City owner, he never did anything wrong. He never upset anybody. He never did anything that the fans didn't want. You know, he seemed to be a really, really nice guy. And unfortunately, him, and it looks like 4 other people, 2 women and 2 other men, died in this helicopter crash. And that's just tragic, that really is. But they've been paying tribute to him today, the fans and the club, you know, the actual players, first team players, and all the people associated with Leicester. You know, my heart goes out to them. I'm going to make you smile here, actually, because I weren't sure today what bins go out, because we have various bins that go out on different days. One goes out one Tuesday, and then the following Tuesday it's a different bin. And what it says, we have a recycle bin and a recycled paper bag. And then the following week, it's the grey bin with the normal household rubbish. And I couldn't remember which one it was today at all. So I got in touch with my friend across the road, Michelle Susan Green, and said, can you please ask your son, who's 5 years old, and he knows the refuse thing inside out. He knows all of it. He knows it all. He even talks to the bin men and everything. He watches them every day. And I said, can you please ask him if he can let me know which bins go out? And quick as a flash, she asked him, and he looked across and he said, grey bins, mummy. Done. That was it. I put my grey bin out. I didn't even question it. I didn't even think, we might be wrong. I thought, no, if he says it's grey bins, mate, it's grey bins. He's a lovely little lad. He's called Finn. I'm hoping, actually, that me and Deb are like a sort of auntie and uncle to him. I think that's how I hope he refers to us anyway, because he's a great little kid. He really is a great little kid, is Finn. And it's coming up to his birthday soon. I know. I think he's 6 in December, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he's a fantastic little lad. He really is. I hope you're enjoying my book. Well, my short story. I do not think I will get it done. I think it's going to go on for some time, this, because it's turning into quite a little escapade of mine. I don't think it'll be finished for Halloween. And I'm just about to do the second part of it for you now. So this is Lucky You, part 2. Carries on from completely where I left yesterday. The last line yesterday was, couldn't be you, you're a loser, don't know why you bother. The voices taunted him and he shouted out, just leave me the fuck alone. All up the alley, cardboard could be heard peeling back and faces peered out at the sudden shout. The alley was usually a quiet place, and any noise was seen as a disturbance and not looked kindly on by those that were enjoying their last few minutes of night sleep. At 8 o'clock in the morning, this was not to be expected or tolerated. Whoa, lad, whoa, I meant nothing by it. You keep the paper if you like. Mac was visibly shocked, but this was not the first time that John had shouted out, and he knew it would not be the last. The lad had problems. Deep problems, personal problems, that was all. The voices faded until they were mere whispers, and John blinked a few times. What had happened? Why were people staring at him up and down the alley? He shook his head and noticed the concern and fear on Mac's face. John smiled. Well, I must have dozed off there. He tried to make light of it, but he knew that he'd fallen asleep and that the voices were just in his head. Mac's concern was still there, but his eyes softened and he managed to smile. "You need to get more sleep instead of spending the nights walking the streets, lad." The incident was forgotten about. At least, it was not talked about at any length. John handed the newspaper back to Mac after straightening out the pages where his hands had crunched up the paper. "I guess some people are meant for better things, Mac?" "Aye, that's true. If it's meant to be, then it will be. That's something you have to believe." Mac's eyes took on a faraway look, and John knew he was recalling something from his past. He let him sit for a few minutes in a state of reverie and looked back up and down the alley. Most of the patrons had gone back to their cardboard abodes, but some had decided that it was time to vacate the alley. A couple of them were already at the north end of the alley, just turning the corner, and another one was slowly walking past him. She gave him a cursory glance, as he had obviously woken her from her beauty sleep. He wondered what sort of dreams these people had. Were they like him, and dreamed of a better future, or were they content of dreaming of the past, and the good times they'd already been? People are different all over the world, but most of them have the same dreams. Money if you're poor, and even more money if you're rich. He got to his feet and helped Mac to his. This was one thing that was tolerated, and whether it was arthritis kicking in or just his age, Mac's legs had been getting worse. A gust of wind blew down the alley out of nowhere and almost toppled them over. Mac reached out and grabbed hold of the dirty shirt sleeve of John. "Nearly had me on me arse out there," he joked. John smiled, and together they walked down the alley into the light of a new day. He separated from Mac at the top of North Street Junction, where they always went their separate ways. It was just one of those things they always did. And they knew that they'd meet up again in a few hours back down the alley, when the day was coming to an end. It was as much of a ritual that John could have set his watch by it, if he'd had one. He walked down several streets and looked in various shop windows. Occasionally he would get a dirty look from some man or woman who looked at him like something they'd found on the bottom of their shoe. This used to get to him, and years ago he would have shouted abuse at them, or asked them what they were looking at, but these days he usually just smiled at them, which made them turn away sharply. Crossing the corner on Bann Street, he found the gates to Quandary Park open, and the warden gave him a pleasant smile as he made his way through the gates and down the long gravel path that led to the edge of the pond. The bench he usually occupied was empty at this time of the morning, so he settled himself down and just watched the birds on the lake doing their daily errands. Dive for a fish here, have a wash there, scrounge for some breadcrumbs if someone was about. They too had a routine. He often wondered what it would be like to be able to just fly anywhere he wanted to go, just up and away. So easy, and he contemplated it often. Today was not one of those days. He tried hard to get the story out of his head, but he couldn't. The millionaire tramp invaded his thoughts. His quiet time was anything but. The voices kept at him, and now they were even more insistent. He was a loser, a nothing, a dead cause. No one would care if he lived or died. Usually he could quieten them down with other thoughts or by watching the lake, but today they would not relent, and they were loud, really loud. He held his hands to his ears and tried in vain to drown them out, but it was no good. He got to his feet and started to walk towards the opposite end of the park. He'd walked for a few minutes when the voices appeared to lose their volume and things started to make sense again. It was all in my mind, and it's just not there. He kept trying to convince himself, and for the moment it appeared to be working. He carried on and eventually reached a nice quiet area at the side of the park cafe, nice and secluded and shielded by trees. Lying down and hiding from the world seemed the best bet. He must have dozed off for a while, for voices woke him, and he feared that they were his voices, taunting him again. But these were different voices, feminine and softer. "Well, I tell you, Jean, you won't catch me putting my money in banks. I don't trust them." "But Angie, that is what banks are for. Protect your money, and they even give you extra if you leave it in." "Well, that may be so, but when my Alex was alive we always saved at home, and he, God rest his soul, was a clever man. No one took him for a fool. When he went I knew exactly how much money he'd had. No one tried to take it from me either." "You and your ways. I tell you, one day you'll regret it." "Well, when all the banks are taken over by computer thingies and the world collapses, I will still have my money safe and sound at home." "You watch too much television, you do. Computer thingies and worlds collapsing. There, you do make me laugh." There was a few minutes' silence, and all John heard was the clinking of cups on saucers. "See, every week I get my pension, and I get my food. The rest goes, well, it doesn't go in any bank anyway, that's for sure." "Well, I put mine in safe hands at the local bank. I've done for years, and I've had no problems. No one has tried to steal it, and they're all really friendly to me." Of course they are, dear. They're waiting until you're comfortable, and that is when you're at your most vulnerable, and they know it. You'll go in one day and they won't even admit they know you. Your money will be gone, and there's nothing you can do about it. Anyway, not all my money's at home. I use some of it to, well, never mind. I shall continue tomorrow. Well, I think that's me done for today, actually. It's 7:30, and I think I might go up and watch another Child's Play movie in a minute. As you can see, look, clean shaved, completely clean shaved, ready, see? I'll be having another shave again, and another shave, and another shave, until Wednesday. And then, of course, midnight Wednesday starts Movember. So from Wednesday midnight until the end of November, the longest month in Deb's life, I think it is, there will be no shaving. You will watch the beard slowly grow and scruff and all that, and you'll have the pleasure of seeing that. And in that time, like I said, I'll be trying to raise money for Movember, Prostate Cancer UK, and also a part of it is raising money for mental health as well, because a lot of people won't admit that men suffer with mental health problems. See, I can admit it because I am one of them, and I do suffer with mental health problems. I suffer with anxiety, I suffer with stress, and it is not a nice place to be. So you all take care, and I'll do another video tomorrow, and enjoy my story. If you're enjoying the videos I'm doing and you want to see more, you can subscribe by clicking the link there. And if you want to see my exciting day from yesterday, you can click up there. Thank you again for taking the time to watch my videos. Bye for now.